What's up, everybody? It's another episode of Poverty Chef. We've got another special treat for you here today. This phallus that I'm holding in my hand is actually a cottage cheese and egg burrito. So we're going to try that out. It's something I've been wanting to try for a hot minute now. I put barbecue sauce in it too, just to mix it up. And it's one of the better things I've reviewed on this channel. That's for sure. First bite was nothing but barbecue sauce, so we got to dig deeper. That's good. That's really good, actually. The eggs are warm, the cheese is cold. So along with the mixed flavors, you also get that mixed temperatures, which can make it really, really good. Draw it out. By the way, I discovered that I'm a little bitch. You see this? I cut my fucking finger open opening barbecue sauce. Can you believe that? You got my tiny little baby hands over here, right? And I'm trying to open the barbecue sauce. And I don't know why. It's just super tight. And I was, if I was married, I'd be like, hey, can you open this? But I'm not married, so I got to keep trying myself. And the bottom of the barbecue sauce lid is like really sharp. So if you grind your finger against it, you get you slice it open. That's actually a week-old injury, and then I just did it again today. I meant to tell y'all about it before, but shit happens. Just like I missed your Monday episode. Oh, by the way, I fried the eggs, not the cheese, but I fried the eggs in olive oil. You get the hell out of here. You get the hell out of here. What are you doing? You see that? I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's Heisenberg. He's coming to visit. Go! And now he's leaving. So I did a live stream yesterday. I don't know if you guys watched that or not. Probably not, because I suck ass at it. But if you have a minute or half an hour, go watch it. Tell me what you think. Do you think that was funny? It was getting real weird at the end there, because I was asking for people to tell me what they wanted me to talk about, and nobody was commenting. They were like, oh, you suck, and then they all left, and then I was just by myself, and then I ended the live stream. So like, I need stuff to talk about, and political commentary, that's coming. It's on its way. So I don't know what the hell just happened, but my phone stopped recording. So maybe that's a sign that I should just stop today's episode. But political commentary is coming. I want it to come. We should be... I mean, we can talk about it right now. The big thing in the news right now is the Kavanaugh hearing. You know, I don't think that Mrs. Christina... Hey, knock it off. I'm drawing a blank on her last name. Blasey Ford. Mrs. Ford, I don't think she's lying. But, I mean, it's been 3.5 decades now. So, chances are she could have got mixed up on the memory. Maybe it was a gentleman who looked like Kavanaugh. Maybe it's a gentleman who had a similar name to Kavanaugh. Or maybe it's just one of those things that she, you know, being a victim, and I can definitely empathize with that. She put it in the back of her mind, and maybe she doesn't remember exactly who did it. But then she sees in the news all this drama and all this negativity that follows Trump. She sees that Trump has nominated an individual, and subconsciously she associates the nominee with the trauma of her own personal past. And since they went to school together, that further, one, corroborates her story, and two, in theory, could help her subconsciously tie those two events together. Now, I'm not saying it didn't happen. Maybe it did. I don't know. I think we owe Mrs. Ford a lot of respect because of what she's potentially been through. But the burden of proof is on the positive claim, so until we get proof that he specifically did that to her specifically, there's nothing we can go on. We have to move forward with his nomination. And me personally, I don't think he's... Hey, get out of here. Smelling my phallus burrito. I personally don't think that Kavanaugh is guilty. I think he was very honest. I think they were both honest. right? And it is possible for someone to be honest and lying. And what I mean by that is that somebody can be honest about something because they are wholeheartedly convinced that that's the way the events happened. But maybe they didn't actually happen the way they remembered it. And just like jury duty that I had last week, it was mostly just little things with my case, but people remember things differently after it's happened. When you're right there in the moment, you can recall it one way, and then if you get interviewed about it a year and a half later, you might recall it an entirely different way. And I have done this myself, not in court or anything like that, but I've had instances where I'm trying to remember a timeline or set up a timeline, because I'm not really a historian, but with my own history, I like to go back and review it and look into when things happen and just observe them and stuff. Can you stop being so Velcro-y? Yeah, this dog is like 85% Velcro, so you just 85% Velcro, 15% muscle. Holler if you hear me. Oh, look at this. Oh, so sad, huh? He's so sad. Okay, go. Where was I? Yeah, so look, when I go back on my own history, hey, knock it off, dude. Go. When I go back on my own history, sometimes I remember things a certain way, and then I'll go back later, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. I remember this happening, but I didn't remember that specifically at that time, the last time I thought about this. So my own timeline can get mixed up sometimes. For example, I got taken away from my mom when I was 10, and that was when I was going into 4th grade. The state took me and put me in a foster home for a couple days, and then they moved me over to my grandparents, and then my grandparents pursued custody from there. And so when I moved back to Utah, I was in Georgia at the time, and then when I moved back to Utah, it was 2012, okay? 2002. I'm not that young. So it was 2002, and the Olympics came to Salt Lake City, and they put me on the choir, and so we sang this song, and I don't remember anything about the song other than, okay, so I don't know why it keeps deleting or stopping my recordings. That's pissing me off. My battery's getting low, but it's not dead yet, so I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, in the song we sing 2002, and that's all I remember. But I know that I would have been singing the 2002 verse in 2002, which was 4th grade. But then I also remember that in 3rd grade, it was the turn of the century. So in 3rd grade, it was 2000. So here I'm thinking there's an entire year missing. But actually, yeah, I figured it out, but I can't remember how I figured it out right now. So right now it does sound like there's a year missing, but I did get it figured out. So in 3rd grade, it went from 99 to 2000. I remember that because there was this whole big thing in the news about the world ending, and Family Guy did an episode on it, and then we were up that night for the new year. And so then it was 2000. I went with my mom, and then I came back home to Utah, and then it was 2000. Get the fuck out of here, you pieces of shit! God fucking flies! Fuck! Making me cuss on my family channel, fucking assholes. Anyway, so then in theory it would have been 2001, because it would have gone from 4th grade, started at 2000, and then Winter Olympics 2001. So yeah, there was something there. But anyway, so I can understand how somebody might not remember the events correctly. So I do believe that Mrs. Ford was entirely honest in her testimony, but I also think Mr. Kavanaugh was honest in his testimony. And I think it's an interesting but shameful tactic that the Democrats are resorting to, accusing somebody of sexual assault in order to stop them. That they hate Donald Trump so much that they're getting people to falsely accuse or capitalizing on somebody else's personal issues with that individual to try and stop him from getting elected. And I mean, yeah, maybe Mr. Kavanaugh is anti-abortion. Maybe he disagrees with you, and that's okay. That's the whole point of putting different people on the Supreme Court, is to have a diversity of opinions. If you get everybody agreeing on every issue, because the point of the Supreme Court is to interpret the Constitution right now, okay? And so that's their only job, really. I mean, they do more than that, but that's the scope of their job in the Constitution. And so when you get everybody in that position that all has the same political sphere of influence, let's say they're all Republicans. Let's say they all have the same political interpretation of the Constitution on every single issue. You know what that means? That means no more abortion, no marijuana. It means bringing back, in theory, prohibition. It means bias towards specific religious institutions, and all these things. And then if you go the other way, if the entire Supreme Court is all Democrats, modern Democrats, then we see it go in the opposite direction, and not in a good way either. We start to see limitations of free speech. We start to see, oh, it's okay to limit this because so-and-so says that it's harmful to A or to B. And we start to see no more firearms or extremely limited firearm access and rights. And we start to see, and honestly, I could see both parties justifying unreasonable searches and seizures because your modern political extremists want to, I'm really deviating from the food here, but that's what we've been talking about for the last week is what direction to take the channel, and I want to get more personal and religious or political stuff. Anyway, because I can see Democrats and Republican extremists both justifying unreasonable searches and seizures. And stop interrupting my recordings, phone! Piece of garbage! Fucking dingus! God damn it! I'm gonna wrap it up here because I don't know what the issue is. But I can see both parties justifying any number of constitutional injustices for their individual political objectives. And so that's why we have to have a diversity of people on the Supreme Court. So if Mr. Kavanaugh disagrees with you, that's okay. It may hurt you politically in the short term. But, I mean, already he said that he's going to respect Roe v. Wade. So you don't have to worry about how he feels about abortions because it's irrelevant, because he said that he's going to respect previous Supreme Court rulings on that issue. So I really don't see what the issue is. And yeah, maybe he is a little bit more extreme conservative than some other nominee options. But that's the point, is to have a diversity of people, because if we have a diversity within that judicial branch, then we have a more even distribution of limitations and expansions, if you will, of rights and liberties and stuff like that. Because if they're all the same on all issues, then we just start to... politics is a balance. It's a balancing scale. And if the entire Supreme Court is on one side, then the entire country starts to lean that way. And yeah, some people would like that. Some people would prefer that. But overall, your overall happiness and your overall rights for the people become infringed because your concept of liberty is no longer applicable, because now everything's about what this specific group of people and their allies and supporters believe. And so that's why it's okay to have an extremist from each side in the Supreme Court. Now, I would be concerned if the entire Supreme Court got replaced by Donald Trump. I could see somebody having an issue with that, and I could understand it. But at the same time, That's entirely unreasonable, and it's entirely disgraceful and despicable that Democrats would go to this length to try and stop Donald Trump's nomination. So that being said, I don't know if these videos are all going to be able to, I don't know if I'm going to be able to edit them together. I'm going to have to upload 4 different videos at once. Excuse me. So we'll see how that goes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Give me your opinions. Do you think Kavanaugh's guilty? Do you think he's innocent? Do you think Mrs. Ford is telling the truth? Do you think she's lying? Do you think this is just a smear campaign? Do you think it was an honest endeavor? Let me know what you think. And then I'll see you guys next week.